Here we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is great, man. Week number 7 has kicked off with Thursday Night Football yesterday. And I mean, it was an okay show. We got a better glimpse as the game wore on in the fourth quarter. The Saints made it a contest. Not great overall, but we did see a lot of points fly off the board. What are we talking today? Week number 7. Boomer bust running backs. Who's going to boom? Who's going to bust? I'm going to give you my predictions this week on who I think are going to be the ballers and the busters. Because, I mean, there's so many running back injuries. We got to know who's going to do well. Lots of bye weeks. So the list of players is definitely thinning out. But let's start with these running backs. Brian Robinson, B-Rob, 66.7% on the boom consistency rate so far. This man has boomed 2 of the last 3 contests, which is good news, man. The Commies have shown great dedication to the run game and balance overall in this offense so far this season under Eric Bieniemy, Eric B, and they're doing very well offensively. Yes, there are some growing pains. Yes, there will continue to be with a young quarterback like Sam Howell, but they have played extremely well. B-Rob has been very reliable most weeks, and he's only getting stronger, man. Goal line upside is absolutely here. And I mean, at this point, I did, expect a little bit more sprinklings of an Antonio Gibson. Has not come to pass. And I mean, it's not been the case whatsoever. Good matchup equals boom for B-Rob. I like it all day long for Brian Robinson this week. Rashad White, man, 17% on the boom consistency. Not good, 45 points. I mean, busted the last 3 games with a bye week in the middle of that. So he has not been reliable for us whatsoever. And I mean, while the Bucs have played well overall this season with a big show, I mean, they're coming out flat after the bye week. Did not look good offensively whatsoever. I mean, facing another tough run defense in the Atlanta Falcons, who have been relatively surprising on the defensive side of the ball. White should again struggle to find open lanes. A TD might be the only thing saving this man's day. I'm calling a bust for White once again. Don't like what's going on with the run game in Tampa. Kareem Hunt, 33% boom rate right now, 20 points. Excuse me, on the board. They're taking on those Indianapolis Colts this week. Finally got a boom since coming back to these Cleveland Browns this past week. No Deshaun Watson. They rolled with P.J. Walker. Watson still hurting, possibly. Could miss this contest once again, which would roll out a P.J. Walker once again as well. Hunt found traction this past week. It was good, man. I mean, being signed after the Chubb injury, you knew that there was going to take some time. He was coming off the couch. He needed some time to get his legs under him. Maybe they utilize him the similar way they did this past week. I mean, how are splits going to go in this offense versus the Colts? That's the biggest question between him and Jerome Ford. Is it going to be more Ford? Is it going to be less Hunt? We will see. P.J. Walker's obviously capable to at least keep this team moving offensively, even though he only had like 6 points fantasy-wise this past week. It's a good matchup versus the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, running was going to have to be a priority once again, especially if Deshaun Watson does not play. I'm calling another boom for Kareem Hunt, as it looks like they found something, excuse me, with Kareem Hunt again in this offense. James Cook, 50% boom rate, consistency rate right now, 63 points. He has kind of fallen off the past 2 weeks, has given us 2 bust games in this Bills offense, as the Bills have sputtered offensively these past 2 games. Has not looked great, man. Cook has looked great, though. They should continue to run this football. You mean, even when Josh Allen was under center, they were getting the over 6 yards per clip with Cook, so I don't know why they did not run this past week versus these New York Giants. Dedication to the run game has been a wonderful revelation for these Buffalo Bills this season. And I mean, the offense would benefit for a lot of, James Cook PPR upside, similarly to how they utilize an Alvin Kamara. I mean, if you do that with a James Cook, I think it's going to be absolutely glorious. Get Cook in space and watch the man work, man. He's got wheels for days, good hands. Be creative, Dorsey, and get this man the football. New England does have a tough run defense, so the matchup isn't great, but I'm still calling it boom, baby, boom for a James Cook. Wide receivers, Christian Watson, 50% boom consistency rate since coming back from his injury. Started the year missing time. Obviously, boom this past week in week 5, had the bye in week 6. And I mean, the Packers, they came out fast in the season like I had predicted when I was preaching up a Jordan Love as one of my late round gems. I said that they would likely start out the gates extremely fast and look great until about week 4, because now the tape is out on a Jordan Love, how to utilize and scheme up against this man. man, and this is exactly what is happening. Struggle has seen from these Green Bay Packers these past 2 weeks before the bye week. Watson is picking up steam, and we're going to understand the growing pains will be there. And I mean, they should have a bigger role for Watson coming off the bye week. He looks healthy, looks fresh. Get the ball in this man's hands because he's got yak yard ability for days. Bounce back week for Green Bay. I'm talking boom for a Christian Watson. Michael Pittman, 50% boom consistency right now, 68 points on the season, going up against a very tough Cleveland Browns team. Pittman has busted the last 2 or 3 games as well, man. Boom in garbage time last week. Did save his day, even though, I mean, they tried to make it competitive. Not very great. I mean, Gardner Minshew, with news that A-Rich is now lost for the season, placed on IR. Minshew's going to have to be the guy for this team moving forward. Pittman has been good. Has he been great? No, it has not been a great season so far. And as the Colts try to integrate Jonathan Taylor back in this offense, rookie Josh Downs is also pulling some target share away and is looking very good in this offense. Very tough matchup versus a Super Bowl caliber defense. No kidding. Cleveland has a great defense. I'm calling a bust for a Michael Pittman. Should be a very difficult day for them as well. DK Metcalf, 80% on the booms. Only 56.7 points, so low end side of boom rate consistency. He did bust this past week, but he is just getting above that threshold of calling it a boom game. Coming off the bye, the Hawks look to regroup and continue where they're going, man. Geno has looked sharp so far, and he's done a very good job spreading the ball around to his playmakers so far this season. Excuse me. Lots of fear coming from the community on a DK and a Tyler Lockett, suggesting that Jackson Smith-Njigba is about to get a lot more work. I don't know if we're going to see it this week or if we're going to have to wait another couple weeks before he's integrated more into this offense, which could remove targets from a DK, from a Tyler Lockett. But I mean, however, I do believe, while DK has boomed, it's been on the low end, like I'm saying. I think this could be a very big week versus these Arizona Cardinals. Boom time for this cyborg we call DK Metcalf, man. Drake London, 66.7% on the consistency, which is relatively good from how it started, man. He was basically a drop player by week 3 as this offense was not moving. They got a good, tough matchup versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Boomed in the last 3 games, man, finding a rhythm for Drake London with a Desmond Ridder. Well, a lot of people do believe that Ridder is not a good quarterback. I'm not going to apologize for his mistakes. Let's don't get this twisted right off the bat. He did make a lot of mistakes this past week. Those 3 interceptions were definitely on him, and he cost his team the victory. However, Ridder is starting to figure things out, man. He's finding Drake. He's finding Pitts. He's finding Jonnu. They got Bijan. This offense is starting to make some waves, man. Drake has had his quality games the past 3 weeks, which is very encouraging, but facing one of the better defenses on the road, it should be a struggle. Ridder could throw some more picks this week. I'm calling a bust for a Drake London. It's going to be tough sledding for him this week, man. Tight ends, Mark Andrews, similarly to a DK Metcalf. I mean, 80% on the boom consistency rate, but it has been on the lower end. He has boomed, Mark Andrews, in these last 3 games. I mean, top end boom was 22 points, but I mean, we haven't seen it, come really to pass so far this season. The Ravens offense has been nothing short of a disappointment. I mean, we're talking, there was no more excuses for Lamar. There's lots of criticism to be spread around, including to the wide receivers who are dropping passes. Even Andrews has not looked good himself so far this season. Booming for a tight end is not difficult. You just got to roll into the end zone and you basically boom in fantasy, but it is rare these days, man. Andrews is looking to be a big part of this offensive game plan versus these Detroit Lions. I'm calling a boom for Mark Andrews. Zach Ertz, 50% on the boom consistency rate, only 34 points so far this season. Decent matchup versus Seattle Seahawks. Ertz has boomed 2 of the last 3 contests, some in garbage time productivity, but we don't give a crap where it comes from in fantasy football as long as you're giving me the points. The Cards have looked, they did look competitive early, but I mean, we had to believe, just like, with my evaluation on the Packers, the tape was going to come out, and it has for these Arizona Cardinals. Life has come back down to earth as they're getting punched in the face, man. Josh Dobbs has found more struggle. Ertz has been involved, but I mean, the production has been, like I said, in garbage time points. I'm calling a bust with a very solid secondary here in Seattle. We may get Ertz on the late if this game does get out of hand, but I'm calling it a bust this week. Sam Laporta, 50% on the boom rate, 65 points taking on these Ravens. Booming games right out the gates, baby. I mean, last week he played, but I mean, he saw, a bust game because he's dealing with that calf injury. They basically gave him the week off while he played and started spreading the ball to all his other wide receivers. It's a good test versus this very strong Ravens defense. Is this Detroit Lions team for real? We will start to see as we get into the tougher weeks of the schedule. And I mean, having a key role in this offense is going to be he's looking the part of being elite. What can we say? Sam Laporta has been an absolute beast for us this season, and I mean, he should be used a lot this week. I think they get back on track, and the calf should be at least 1 week more healed than it was last week. TD time is coming, so I'm calling a boom for Sam Laporta. Last one I got, Gerald Everett, 20% on the boom rate going up against these Cardinals, only 26.7 points, and I mean, finally, we saw Gerald Everett get a boom this past week. I mean, it's very tough when you got guys like Donald Parham taking target share away from this man. My speculation was, you guys understand, when Mike Williams went down with that injury, I did believe that we would see more target share coming to a Gerald Everett's direction. Has not come to pass just yet, man. While we see the usage for tight ends moving up since Mike Williams went down, it's been going to Parham. But how can we trust starting Parham? Because it is such a high-risk, high-reward play at that point. He's been leading over in Everett right now. While we did see Everett get into the end zone this past week, Keenan Allen has been that target pig, and Josh Palmer is taking those secondary targets away. So we got to say, man, it is too hard to trust for a Gerald Everett. I'm going to call a bust for this man unless he gets a TD, but he had a TD last week, so I'm going to call it a bust as I'm not fully trustworthy. But there you have it. That is Week 7 Boomer Bust. I got Start Sit for y'all on Saturday like always, so definitely I'll be answering a lot of your Start Sit questions as we get into bye week Armageddon and lots of injuries. It is not fun right now in the fantasy spectrum, but nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.